So can you, oh yeah, I need to.
Yeah, you should be able to share. If you can't, let me know.
Okay, I got it. Here we go.
There you go.
It is not, hold on. It is not letting me do it right now. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, I'm trying right now. For whatever reason, my computer's not allowing me to do that.
Okay.
Hold on, let me try again.
John, where do you coach at?
One second. Well, I used to coach for Brighton. Brighton, if you're talking to me, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I used to coach for Brighton junior football for like 14 years. And then I knew Jerry, and he asked me to come coach with the Saints this year. It's my first year coaching there. So
Nice.
I've been coaching for 14 years. My son used to play for Brighton High School. So
Oh, wow.
Nice.
I've
How
got
long
a
ago did he
good
graduate?
opportunity. What'd you say?
How long ago did your son graduate?
You mean college? He graduates this year.
Okay. Well,
I coached long after my son was out of the league because I like doing it.
yeah. Did you happen to coach Kobe Ford by any chance, or no Kobe Ford?
No, I never coached him, but he played like behind my son, a couple
Okay.
years behind him. But
Yep.
Coach
He-
McGraw coached him, I think, and
Okay.
but it was
Okay.
pretty cool. I enjoy. That's why I'm listening to you guys. I just want to learn a little something more than what I might. I've been a defensive coordinator for like 14 years. That's all I've ever done.
Okay.
But I can learn something every day.
Yeah, we all can. I told someone else the other day, I said, if we could, with everything that everyone's discussing, we had Coach Oscar last night, or Pruchnicki, and I said, if anybody could take at least 2 or 3 things out what he said, and the day before, you're ahead of the game, because you can never stop learning football. And what's it going to do is it's going to make it safe for your kids, as well as prepare them from high school. Now, we'll have Coach Jarmo for Ann Arbor, Gabriel Shard, talking about offensive schemes next week. But, it allows these young student athletes to prepare themselves for high school and learn. And as coaches get better too, so that way they're preparing for these kids for high school. Because, one of the greatest things we took out of Guardian Angels when we coach in Shrine was that when our kids end up going to De La Salle, Foley, or Shrine, the coaches were like, they knew the game. They knew what the whole numbers were. They knew the terminology, and they knew some of the drills. And now it's just, improving their knowledge. And so I think it's imperative that we have stuff like this just for us if we can.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
There we go.
John, where's your son at college at then?
He's home right now. He's at Michigan State. He's through with college. He just graduated.
Oh, great.
Okay. My brother-in-law is a former Bulldog, but he's a little bit older. He was back in like 2002 or 2003.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's probably Henson was.
He missed Henson. He was with
Yeah.
The guy from Grand Valley.
Okay.
The Finnerty College.
Yep.
Well, who was the coach? I forgot. I didn't really coach during the Henson era, but who was the coach for Bright? It was Murray. Murray was the head coach. Who
Yeah, I
he
think
was?
so.
Yeah.
Yep.
They had a good year. They went to the Silver Dome. They played in the championship game the year before last. Brighton did at Ford Field.
All righty. So I finally got it. You guys can see that?
Yep.
We sure can.
All right, John. So basically what I'm going to break it down real quickly is just kind of like how we practice. Not necessarily how we practice, more so just suggestions. This is a style that we've adopted for this upcoming year, kind of to try to break things down, I think, a little bit better for us. I think and kind of where I start off with is organization. It is the biggest key. Something that as years have gone on through in the beginning of my coaching career, especially as a head coach, I was the worst at. I try to fit everything in to one day or whatever, and I end up losing out on a ton of practice time because I'm just trying to force feed something that doesn't need to. And so we really started working on practice organization. And the way to do that is in breaking it down is you need to look at the entire week as a whole. I don't know how many days a week you guys practice over there.
It's 4 days a week.
4 days. Okay. So this
Yeah,
is,
and then when the school year starts, you're down to 3: Monday, Tuesday, and then it's Thursday. So Thursdays are like the last. It's kind of like the prep day
right.
before your game on Saturday.
Right. So this is obviously kind of more structured around a high school schedule of, practicing Monday through Thursday, with the Friday game, at least when we're talking game week. One of the things that we are starting this year, and again, it's just a way to break it down, is a 3-day rotation. And what I mean by that is we basically break our playbook or our game plan into 3 days. And each day you're going to focus on 1 to 2 concepts per play family. And I'm going to show you what our 3-day rotation, that schedule looks like. But what I think the biggest thing it does is, and it's one of the biggest reasons why I really started working on this, is eliminating one-offs and pairing concepts that work together. We had a hard time with not, we had a couple plays where it just was real predictable, or you just keep adding on to the playbook and add on, and you realize that you didn't have a system, you didn't have a family of plays, and this kind of helped us kind of group our stuff and build our playbook off of one another, especially when it comes to, when you're pairing up your play action and all that. So this isn't exactly how we do it. This is just an example I took off of a clinic where actually I had picked up this 3-day rotation idea. Shane Dulard put this out on Coach 2, but what I really like about it is it gives you a clear, and this is how you use it how you script your week. So for us, we're it's a little differently for us, but typically I would say I would pick one concept, say that's your bread and butter. If you have one play that kind of defines your program, I would pick that as a daily thing. So whether it's a certain pass concept you really like, a run concept that you just really hang your hat on, you have one concept that you just do, 1 or 2 concepts that you do every day. So the way you'd break that down is, say, if, for a run game concept, if you went power, that first Monday, you're going to break it down into, okay, I'm going to run power out of my base formation, say 2x1, however you do it. You go strong side power. The second day you can go weak side power. And then on that third day, basically you break it down to where you're going to do whatever tags you have off of it. So if you've got a power read, if you've got a, any type of variation off the play, whether it's a counter, whatever you do, make that your third day. And the purpose of it is if you want to make your identity off of certain plays, that's how you do it. You can't establish if you're going to be a power team, or, in this example, mesh or 4 verts. If that's how you're going to make your identity, you can't just practice it 1 day a week. You've literally got to make that your bread and butter. And by doing that, you've got to do it every day. And then the rest of this, for run concepts, just an example, like I said, say if, your mesh is your butter concept, your bread and butter, you can go inside zone. Tuesday, say you go a counter or a power, and then Wednesday, say you do an outside zone. And basically, when you're filling in these other spots, when I talk about pairing them off, this is how you pair them off. So say if you have a zone read, you would put that in onto that Monday schedule, because it's a a pair off from the inside zone. If you've got, whether it's a bubble, say, you're an RPO team, I don't know how many RPOs, you're doing at the or the youth level, but, maybe you pair your screen day for Monday is your bubble screens or your quick screens. And again, you just break it down each day and it'll help you organize it. And I think most importantly, it'll help you script. Cause that is, I think, the biggest thing that so many coaches don't do is scripting their practices, whether it's any type of group session. So, inside run, 7-on-7, team run, or excuse me, just
When you
team.
say 7-on-7, that's a good thing. And a lot of times at youth, they don't, in high school, I know they run 7-on-7,
Right.
but that's a good thing we need to incorporate is 7-on-7. I haven't seen that done. I've recommended it a couple times, but I'm a defensive coach. I don't do offense, but
Right.
I'm just saying it's a good thing to do. And that's a good thing that you said that, because we'll try to run that this year.
Without a doubt. And I'll show you kind of how we do it. I think one of the best ways and how you can incorporate is and just break it down with the practices. So, using it almost as a game plan. Like I said, I'll show you in a minute how we incorporate our 7-on-7. We actually make sure we're keeping everyone involved. So depending on your numbers, say when you're doing a 7-on-7 period, say if it's an offensive 7-on-7 period, I would have the O-line and D-line kids down on the other end, and they're working on, say, one-on-ones or you're working on your pass pro stuff, trying to keep these guys busy.
Right.
And less is more. Less is more, especially with these young guys, man. It's hard enough keeping a high school kid, paying attention for 2 hours or whatever. It's a heck of a lot worse once you start trying to get, 13, 12, and, potentially younger.
I agree,
kids.
Coach.
It's difficult.
If you're lucky, you're lucky if you, I mean, really, if you want to be successful on offense, in my opinion, in this little league stuff, you're talking maybe 6 to 8 plays, man, and you got to be able to run them in air and you got to be able to run them flawlessly. And then you'll do something. But if you give them too much stuff to learn, it ain't going to happen, man. There ain't no
Exactly.
way.
And one of the things I think I didn't really touch on as much in that first one, in the first offensive side, is the scripting. When you're doing any type of team group period, it could be offense on air, defensive walkthrough. You got to have a script. Otherwise, you're simply not going to be able to get through everything. It's human nature. You're going to forget stuff. I know I've done it even while scripting. I've had times where I forgot things that we didn't get to, and it just allows you to stay on track. But the important part of scripting is that last part is you got to stay on track. One of the last things I'll say, at least with this slide, is I think these first two parts are crazy important in indie circuit, and that's on both sides of the ball, but especially the defensive side. This game's about blocking and tackling. That's what wins and loses football games. And we didn't do a great job of either of that. And that's why we lost a lot of games last year. And this is one of the things that we're incorporating a bunch is we are taking every single day from practice one till our last walkthrough before, playoffs or whatever, we're going to be doing this. We're doing circuits, and it's a big thing, and it just allows you to keep an organized, quick paced, because like we said, keeping those kids' attention for a long period of time is difficult.
So Coach, that's a really good thing. What do you think of this? I'm just telling you the way I do it, and if you don't think it's a good, I mean, I'll change some stuff up. But what I've done is like we got when we're at the 3-day level. At the beginning, the first day, I like to let offense do offense the whole day.
Yeah.
I mean, they let them do their offense, incorporate it. Second day is defense. And the way I would do defense is start off with your warm up, I don't know, 10 minutes. And then the tackling circuit. I do like four tackling stations, about 9 minutes apiece, because that you don't have much more than 9 or 10 minutes to run through those. and then we go split into, you know, group where you got your line and then you got your defensive backs and your linebackers, and then I bring them into a group. You know, we bring them to team, right? And then that's when we install our defense or install our offense. I mean, is that a good way to do it in Little League, you think?
Yeah. So when you said that the four stations, and are you saying 9 minutes total or 9 minutes per station?
9 minutes per, it depends on how many players I mean, it's usually
Right.
about 10 minutes at the max of each
So,
station. Then
so
we
I,
rotate.
what I would do, especially, I mean, I don't know your guys' numbers. When I talk about like, I would cut that down almost to 10 minutes total.
10 minutes, what, 10 minutes total for the four stations?
Yeah. So what I would do is, and this again, you can slow it down if you want to knock it down to, 15 minutes. I think when you're talking 30 something to 40 minutes, possibly just doing in one area, even though you're rotating, I would really push, because I think it keeps those guys moving.
Up tempo it and get it done faster, right?
10 minutes we don't do any group period really longer than 10 minutes, and that's just for one whole thing. So going 10 minutes each one, I think you can get a lot more done if you push the tempo, and it requires some work on the coaches. But I think cutting that down, I think you're going to get a lot. It's not about the quantity; it's about the quality.
You mean like are you talking about like the way I broke it down, each one 10 minutes? I mean, like the tackle circuit, like you got 4 tackle circuits. How much time do you spend at each station, would you say?
I would say probably 3 to 4 minutes max
Okay.
at each station. I mean, because if you get those guys moving around, especially if you guys it's quick tempo and you're just one rep after the other. I mean, you're still able to coach those guys up, but I think speeding that up will help your guys a lot better. Like I said, quantity is not necessarily better than quality in that scenario.
Okay, after you did the tackle circuit, let's say it's defensive day. Now you break into group. You put the linemen with what the linemen go together, and how much do you say you spend on that station?
So here I'll pull up how we break it up.
Okay.
So this is a typical week for us. So we break each period down into 5 minutes. So for one, this is how we break down. You'll see how I talk about with Skelly, and we move the D linemen around, so we don't want them just standing around during a practice. So during this, for example, for our 15-minute indie period, for our guys, we are doing what's the best way to put it? It's a full circuit station. So there's about 4 or 5 stations in our offensive indie, for example, that we are doing. Each guy is just rotating to each station. It ends up just being kind of like a carnival.
Okay.
Right. So it's just not a carnival, but a merry-go-round. You're just constantly going to the next one. So you get whatever rep you're going in this one, whatever rep you're going to the next one, and so on and so forth. And that way, what we're trying to do is, we're trying to get them moving. It's the first part of practice, so you don't want dead legs, in the first part of practice before you get into it. And then also, I think it allows you to still coach these guys and have them start working with a sense of urgency, if that makes sense.
I agree. No, I agree. No, I agree. I mean, the concept's right. I just need I think we need to cut. I always thought, hey, you spend 8 minutes at each station. If obviously you've been doing it a lot, it's probably too much. You know what I mean? It is too much. Maybe I can use the minutes in other areas a lot better.
Exactly. And I think yeah. I think you break it down to, okay, what's, these Mondays, say, or Tuesdays, we need an angle circuit, a form tackling circuit, whatever it is, and just if you cut that down, I'm telling you, you're going to get more out of those guys, especially if you're in 4 different. I mean, how many kids are in your program or on your
You know,
team?
like I said, this is my first year doing this. I'm coaching with Jerry Bragg. I don't know if you know him or not, but this is a different league for me. I never
Right.
did this league. It's smaller. Brighton has 3 teams for each color.
Yeah.
JV. These guys got like 1 team, like 2 teams, JV and varsity. So I heard there's like 40 something guys. So we'll be coaching less guy. I don't know, more guys actually, because you got to coach. I guess you got to coach the varsity with the JV, but break them up at the same time.
Either way, I think if you cut that period down, and it'll help you with that, you're going to be able to do a lot more teaching as you go.
Take note.
And I think also you won't lose those kids. You'll be able to keep them engaged longer for those practices too. And then the last thing I'll say just on our week thing, again, this is where I'm talking about. So we call tracks our inside run, that for offense, just that way our guys don't get confused. So inside run is for defense, tracks is for offense. And basically what we'll do is when we're on defense for doing our 7-on-7, or excuse me, our inside run, we're going to take our wide receivers and our defensive backs. We're going to go do some one-on-ones. While we're doing offensive, inside run, we're going to have our wide receivers working on a run block drill against the DBs with the block destruction. With the younger, now we do things a little bit just because we kind of have platoon kids. And we force, or we make our younger guys be one-way guys because it's just too much for a young guy to start playing 2 ways sometimes at the varsity level. But that's just how we kind of break things up and eliminates that standing around for everybody. Last thing I'll just show real quick, the play the game. This is our Thursday practice. If we're playing Friday, or our Friday practice if we're playing on a Saturday. And this is a little bit extensive, but literally we go through an entire game. We'll come out, we'll stretch, we'll start out with kickoff return. You can start out with any one, and I would just go through this entire thing. And I can send a copy of how we do it. But I think this is one of the best ways that we get ready for every game situation. You'll see in here, we'll have a scoop and score. We'll have a turnover spot where our defense has to come out, and it's mostly on air or walk through on against a scout O. On offense, it's on air. Defense, it's on with a scout O. But defense has to work through and go through their assignments for 5 plays after a turnover to get ready. We throw in muff snaps, force a safety. Running a punt at the end of the game, backed up. So we try to do every situation possible, and I think this helps our guys for any type of situational stuff.
So that's your game prep.
That's my game prep practice. Yeah, and it's, since you guys do this, a 3-day practice schedule. I would throw this in towards the end of practice. That you can cut this down. But I would say this is one way that I think that it gets those guys ready to rock for game day.
Okay.
But so if you don't have any other questions, I can pass it over to Mike. And
okay, that'd be cool. I got some good stuff here.
And like I said, if you need anything, just let me know.
Okay.
And it looks like we have Kyle Wilson also online. Kyle, you could take yourself off mute. There's only you and John and myself and the 2 coaches, if you like, as long as there's not a lot of background noise.
Hey guys, sorry, I just got done with the baseball game, so I'm driving, and hopefully I can get the recording of this call.
Absolutely. Listen up, and you definitely will get the recording. Just make sure you send me an email and make sure I have your email address on the list. Okay.
I will for sure. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Great to have you on, Coach. Thanks for hopping on, both Coach Wilson. Haven't seen you in a while. Hope everything's going well, and also Coach John there. So appreciate it. Great job, Jeff. I picked up a few things there as well too. So appreciate you sharing. I think it's great. Just having Coach from Lakes there, and myself from Everest, we're kind of two smaller programs. So I think we relate really well to kind of CYO football and some of the things you guys are going through that, I think it's easy for us to relate to. So can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. So just first of all, I want to thank Coach Taylor, first of all, Carl, for doing this. I think it's great. It's awesome in terms of just putting this together, really. I mean, this is what the Catholic League is about and makes us special, makes us unique. So I really appreciate Coach Taylor doing that and helping us get going on these kind of events and these kind of things like this to build that community and really make the CYO the best league we got. So I appreciate you doing that. Just want to give you a little bit of overview about Everest Collegiate High School and Academy, who we are. And, it's really kind of, Coach Glyn, I'm glad you put this on there as a topic. I think it's great. It's awesome stuff. I'm passionate about football and really practice plan is a huge part of that. So we're trying to create great experiences for these boys. So I got to make sure I understand what our school is about and who we are to make sure I match up with that. So our mission here at the school is to teach students to be Catholic Christian leaders who are capable of utilizing their strengths so they can fulfill the unique plan that God has for each of them. So that's what we try and do in our football program as well too. So our school has 4 pillars: apostolic, human, spiritual, intellectual. So each of those 4 pillars, I know if I do a good job of that, of promoting those and holding our kids accountable in football, that we're going to have success. And it's been great doing that. So we really emphasize those 4 pillars in football, just like our school does. Our school model is always higher. So it just fits with who we are and what we do in football and the game of football and everything. So that one more rep attitude. The school was started in 1991 at the academy, the K through 8 school, and then our high school just began here in 2008. And so pretty new school and just still kind of coming about and growing. So a lot of great things going on here. The football program. So Everest Collegiate football was started in 2013. Before that, we co-opted with Lakes for a couple years. So kind of cool that we got Jeff on here and myself, both the head coaches. And, it was a really great opportunity for us here at Everest to be able to start football. And we couldn't have done it without that co-op with Lakes and what Coach Mike Boyd did over there and really kind of instilling a lot of great virtues in our young men. And it's really kind of created our success here. So
I think my oldest son was the last Foley team that played against Lakes Everest in high school.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think you guys started in the fall of 2013, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. My oldest graduated in 2013, and the fall of 2012 is when they played. It is actually on YouTube. He had an incredible game, and I almost got kicked out because I was mad at the refs. And Beauchamp had like 20 tackles and 2 interceptions. He had a great game, the oldest Beauchamp.
They had some great teams there. Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they did. That was a great
really
Lakes Everest team. I mean, it was, I digress, but yeah, great stuff.
Oh, it was fun. It was huge. Yeah, and just that relationship, with Lakes and Coach Boyd helps us out, get going was huge for us. So we started out. We had, I think, 22 kids in the program the first year in 2013, and we had 15 kids a couple of years. So 2016, we got down to 15 kids, and that's 9th through 12th graders. So that's 9th graders playing high school football, our varsity high school football. So 2016, 2017, we only had 15 kids in the whole program. So you talk about like unique practicing and, setting up different things. I know Coach talked about the 7-on-7 and taking these guys and go and do that. Well, we got to do a lot of half line stuff when we had to do that. We had linemen running routes and those kind of things. So again, I think it really relates to really CYO football and youth football in general. So and please interrupt any time. So if you guys have any questions, I'll get into, a little bit more here in a second. We've had some success and, doing well recently and, at a small school that goes in cycles, right? So we've had a great group of kids come through and provide us to have some success on the field. And we know, and again, it kind of goes back to CYO. We play with who we got, right? Every year we aren't going to have the best team, but how do we define success? Get to the back. So my name is Michael Pruchnicki. This is my 9th year at Everest. And just kind of a background of me. My dad was a high school football coach, growing up. So I grew up with it. Attended Powers Catholic, played for a renowned, the best coach in the Flint area, Jack Pratt. He's got the most wins up there ever. So it was a great opportunity to learn a lot from him. Went to Michigan State, had the opportunity to play for Bobby Williams and John L. Smith, and then stayed on to help as a graduate assistant with Mark D'Antonio. So, and I just mentioned this just to give you an idea of where I get kind of all the things that I've learned, because all this stuff in here and on this presentation, I didn't come up with. I just stole it all from other coaches, from other people, right? And then out of Michigan State, I went over to Orchard Lake St. Mary's and learned a lot from Coach Port over there as well too. So just kind of give you a brief overview. What we'll cover here. So I guess I just want to cover what successful coaching looks like. The state of high school football, where we're at now. What other coaches are saying about football and how we can save it. Practice planning, organization ideas. I'll give you some of our sample practice plans, offensive scripts, and why are we in the Catholic League, and then just kind of a closing here, and that'd be it. So so stop me if I get too long or if I get too long-winded, and let me know. But I think it's important to cover these other topics. We got to understand what successful coaching looks like so I can have a great practice plan. So first off, and this is why we're getting in the game, it can't be about us. It's got to be about that servant leadership. Focus on our player success, on our athlete success, having a deeper purpose, right? We must focus on the deeper purpose of the game, or if it becomes just that, it just becomes a game, right? And we're just playing for all the wins and losses, right? It's gonna get old pretty quick. It's gonna get tough. So have a set standards and beliefs, and run our practice. Make sure our practices mirror that. Okay. Biggest thing I think in today is we got to meet our players where they're at the specific place where they need us, right? These kids today, it's a different time. It's a different era. Back when we were playing football, it was yes coach, no coach. Kids today want to understand why are we doing this? So we got to meet them where they're at, accompany them. Okay. It doesn't do us any good if a kid's not playing football. He's not having the opportunity to be coached by us and to learn from us. So make sure we're meeting them where they're at. We want to serve the hearts of our players, not their talents. I know some programs you got your star player and, maybe, you treat them a little bit differently, but we got to make sure we're serving the hearts of our kids. Find the good in every person and celebrate whatever strength that individual displays. So each kid in our program, I try and do a great job of making sure I understand what talents they have and seeing their talents, of making sure they understand how they're loved, okay, and their worth, right? God made them perfectly the way they are. Okay. We're relationships, not X's and O's. Players won't practice hard without it. If you don't have a relationship, they aren't going to play hard for you. They aren't going to practice hard. We're always going to try and help the kids leave the field upbeat, just with a positive message. And I'll go over that a little bit in our practice plan, how we do that. Be a life coach. We're there as coaches. Football is the greatest game there is, but, we're there for them spiritually, emotionally, socially, supporting our players for whatever we do. The mental health impacts of today's world, and especially through these COVID years and those kind of things, is incredible. I just saw a film just last month. The Archdiocese of Saginaw came out with a film from a young man from Harbor Beach that tried to take his life. He was an all-state football player, a 4.0 student, and just a sad story. But they did a great job with this video, and I would encourage anyone to check that out. Just kind of puts things in perspective for us of what we're doing in our role as a coach. So we got to be passionate about our role as a coach. Kids feed off passion. If we're passionate about, no matter what it is, I think you see it in school as well too. When you have a teacher that's a real teacher, that's a real coach, the kids are drawn to that. I don't care if it's math or science or astronomy or whatever that is. A teacher that really is going to be passionate about the subject and the material, the kids are going to be excited about it. So we got to bring that energy to practice. We got to get them upbeat, bring that excitement. We got to inspire greatness. Okay. And then we want to coach with our friends too. So the friends on our staff here at Everest, I'm so blessed to have such a great staff. Unbelievable. Jim DeJager's been with me for the past 5 years. Sam Balestri, I got Sam Balestri Sr. and Jr. Sam Balestri Jr. graduated from here, and they give so much to our program. Bill Ross is another one that's just stepping up and just donates so much of his time. And then last year that we picked up Coach Tim Shealy as well too. And just everything he does for us is incredible. So I have so much fun with those guys at practice. It makes practice go by so fast, and it's like, oh my goodness, we're done already. We're flying around and having fun at our practice. And then lastly, we want to be loyal to our schools. We want to make sure we represent our school the right way. And so I talk about these things just to, it's kind of because that's how I want to practice. I want to make sure my practices are ran that way in terms of my coaching style and what we do. So next thing I want to just touch on really quick, and please, again, interrupt me if you got any questions or anything like that. I think we know the game is under attack, and we've heard this. And the big thing is, and I'm going to show you some slides here. Is I took stuff from college coaches are saying, "Gosh, we got to get to the youth level. We got to let these guys know that we got to keep these kids in the game." I mean, the numbers are just dropping with the concussion stuff. Football being hard, it's difficult, it's challenging. Kids have so many other things they can do today, between other sports or video games or just whatever it is. It's just crazy. So we got to make sure that we're doing our best to save the game of football, to nurture young people to love the game, to make it fun, to make it exciting. The game is hard to practice. I don't care who you are. When you got a third, fourth grade kid putting on all this equipment, helmets, shoulder pads, my son did it for the first time this fall, and he's so excited. But I mean, it's not easy. So if they're out there practicing 5 days a week for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, 3 hours, that's tough. It's not easy. And so we got to make sure we got to understand that and make sure we overcome that with the way we plan our practices. So we got to build numbers, right? We want more people in our program because you're a great teacher, because we want them to learn from you as a coach. And I know you're great because you're on this Zoom call looking to get better, right? You're looking to invest in these kids and grow. So build a team that plays hard and fair, develop players into true team players, and teach them those lifelong lessons that everyone talks about. And the number one goal has got to be to have fun. We got to have fun out there. I mean, it's got to be enjoyable. At my level, at your level, at any level, it's got to be fun for these kids. So that's what I try and do with our practices. I took this from Tony Anise from Ferris State University. I've known Coach Anise for a long time. I mentioned my dad was a high school football coach, and we going back all the way back to when Coach Anise was at Montrose. And gosh, he ran one tough program at Montrose. I mean, they were power lifters. They were just intense, hard nosed. He was a tough coach. And so to hear him today speak on the game of football and about how he loves his players and all this kind of stuff is really eye-opening for me. And he had this presentation, and it's right from Glazier. So I know maybe some of you coaches have been on there and heard this and seen it, but I thought it was just excellent. And it's really geared towards youth coaches, even more than high school coaches. And these were kind of some of his things about coaching and practice and stuff, the old school mentality of I'm going to bury my kids, or, I'm going to make these kids into men. Well, again, it goes back to meeting them where they're at and just accompanying them, build them up, help them believe in themselves, help them love the game, help them get out there and have some fun with their friends. Because that's what we're made for. We're made for relationships. And that's what I keep telling when people come into our program, I'm going to give the boys great life experiences, and they're going to have great relationships, with myself, with the players on the team. And that's what it's about. That's what I remember from my high school experience of playing with my brothers, practicing with them, but more than that, hanging out with them, wherever that may be. So that's what I try and do for our team. So things like avoid running laps, there's no need to run laps in football. And I know there's a lot of new theories on that as well, too. The training techniques that they're doing, that, players shouldn't be running these, 100-yard sprints or, Steeler 360s or all these Green Bays and stuff like they used to do. Why are we doing that? A football play is only 8 seconds, so anything we do should be 8 seconds or less. Big thing is, and I know I'm doing it probably too much right now, is we got to avoid talking too much at practice. We got to coach on the run, especially with these young kids. We got to keep them moving at practice. We can't get them being bored, just standing still, not doing anything. So players come to practice to play, not to sit and listen, right? So, I mean, you see it in the classroom, those teachers that are engaging, that have their students leading it and getting up there and stuff, the kids are learning, right? So if they're sitting there, they're going to get turned off. It's going to be boring, especially out in that sun, in that August when it's 90 degrees out, or gosh, in the late October when it's, you got that wind and it's 30 degrees out and those kids are freezing. They aren't listening to a word I say. I know it. So have a positive attitude, bring that enthusiasm, be organized. Coach Glyn touched on a lot of these things, did a great job. Give clear instructions, right? Short demonstrations with short, clear instructions. Okay. Here's few more he had, and I don't have to read them all. I mean, you can look at them and read through them, but patience, right? Care about the players more than the individual. Be the first and demonstrate good sportsmanship. We as coaches, especially in the CYO, we got to be above and beyond what other leagues are, right? We got to be the best. I mean, the Catholic League should be the best. The Detroit Catholic League, the tradition of it, the excellence of the Detroit Catholic League is just something special. Keeping a low profile during the game, I think that's a big one as well, too. The game is for the kids. Coaches coach during the practice. By the time game time comes, we really can't do anything. So the practice is a time where we got to coach hard. We got to coach enthusiastically, and get out there and really motivate them. During the game, it's up to the players. we can't get out there. So just encourage you to do that. And then understand the different characteristics of youth in the various age groups between 3rd and 4th grade all the way up to 7th and 8th is huge, right? It's a big difference. Provide opportunities for all the players. We got to get these kids in the game. If they aren't playing, and if they're sitting on the bench for 3 quarters and getting in the 4th quarter, like that's a shame, right? We got to get these kids into the game playing, get them playing, get them out there on the field, get them some reps, rotate guys in the 1st quarter so you don't have to wait to the 4th quarter and get them in meaningful situations. I hear it before, guys, well, I want to get up, 28 points and then I'll rotate the kids. Nah, those kids know it and they know what's going on, right? And to be honest with you, especially at the lower levels, 3rd and 4th grade football, 5th, 6th grade football, by the time you get to 7th grade, 8th grade football, it gets a little bit better. But if you got the best running back on the team, you're on the field, you're probably going to win that day, in most situations. So get out there, play those kids, give them a great opportunity. Use safe and appropriate drills. Again, and these are just a couple other ones, being approachable. Parents, I guess that's the other one too. I would encourage parents, like as coaches, I guess, we got to expect parents are going to come see us. They're going to come talk to us. I don't care if you're undefeated or haven't won a game. It doesn't matter. Parents are going to come in and see us. And my big thing is, hey, I'm just glad I got parents coming to see me, because when we don't have parents coming to see us, I mean, the football game is going to be in big trouble. So at least these parents are passionate enough to come see us. And most of the time, it's just fear. They're looking out for their kid and that kind of thing. And we just want to talk calmly with them and do a great job. So that's Coach up at Ferris. Coach Denise does a great job. Coach Sturzma over at Hope College spoke the same thing a couple years ago at the high school clinic. I've heard it all over from college coaches about saving the game of football, and it's up to us. We got to do it. We got to work together. And again, that's why I think this clinic is awesome and kind of making us work together. This was just an article that got sent to me last week by one of my coaches as well too. Just talks about, you can see there the philosophy, and this is kind of something to do. That I think is more important as well too, with just how we practice. He talked about this coach is Jeff Vick from Illinois, and how he didn't in 2017-18. You can see all he had 7 concussions, 4 ACL tears, 3 shoulder labrum tears, all these kind of injuries. And then just this year he switched and went to, and you can see where it says Vick's philosophy in his own words on the right side of the screen, and it says, we do not do any full contact during the season. He says his guys never want his guys to be tackled by a teammate. Focus on aiming points. They wear shoulder pads once a week, Wednesday contact days, to protect themselves and others. Right. They tackle bags and into crashing pads, right? Mimicking, the hawk tackling by the Seattle Seahawks, or rugby tackling. Okay. And at first it was met with resistance, but after a while the players understood it and they knew it. And now it's just part of who they are. And he just says in there, hey, he's sold on this. And I agree. I think the less contact, the more hungry they are. And in high school, we never did full contact practice. I mean, when we did, it was like, man, it was great. It was like the greatest day of the season. When we got to do that maybe once or twice a year in practice, it was awesome. We never hit in my high school, very rarely. And that was a coach that coached back all the way back in the 50s and 60s. Coach Pratt was old by the time I had him, and a great football coach. And so he really adapted and changed during the times. And I think that's where we got to go more and more as well too, with less contact in practice. So getting into the organization of it, these are just some of the things that we encourage, I guess, through being at Everest. We are a K-8 school. So we keep practices short. We want the kids wanting more. We want them being hungry to go to practice. We want them, if they're dragging, if they're like, oh man, when's practice over? Because again, we talked about it. If you guys have played, you guys know practicing football is hard. It's tough. It's difficult. And I know we want to teach these kids to overcome hard things and tough things, but it's got to be gradual. It can't just be thrown in their face and all of a sudden expect them to do it. We got to bring them along with us and make sure we aren't losing them to the game. So 3rd and 4th grade, I would encourage 2 practices a week. That's what we do here at Everest. 5th and 6th grade, and just kind of progress in 3 practices a week, and then 7th, 8th grade, 4 practices a week. What I try and do with our practice plans is plan backwards. We want to keep it simple. So if you watch game film, we try and take game film, and then we try and create drills that we see off game film. We want to keep our drills simple. We want to be fast. So in practice, we can go fast at our practice. We get into our drills. Our kids, so we have our EDD drills, our everyday drills. Our kids know those. They know on Monday we're going to run these ones. Tuesdays we're running these ones. Wednesdays we're running these ones. And really, with COVID and everything this year, our season got shut down and back on and back off. So when we had that one start for Christmas, there were some cheap flights. So my wife and I said, hey, let's take the kids down to Florida. So we never expected that football would turned back on there right at Christmas. And I'm down in Florida, and I'm like, gosh, I can't get a flight back to practice with our team because we were still in the playoffs at that time. And so I wasn't there for a couple of practices, and the coaches said, man, our kids did such an amazing job. They knew what to do at practices. So our drills are simple. And I think I took a lot of that from even Coach D'Antonio. I think two of the best things he did was, one, he brought in a culture that was really high attention to detail. And the second thing he did is he did fundamentals, and just simple fundamentals. I'm talking the most basic. And that's what we try and do here, is breaking it down. Angle tackle drill. I mean, doing that drill almost every day, just a simple 2 yards apart, not a high contact drill. We don't need a lot of contact, right? Break it down, put them in short spaces where it's just going to be, low impact, but teaching kids how to hit. And that's what parents ask me all the time is, well, my son doesn't, I don't think he's going to be a kid that likes to have contact or anything like that. And I always tell them it's going to come. It's going to come. Like, we're going to teach them. We're going to work with them. We're going to break it down to the most basic levels. And I'm not going to put a kid in that's not ready to hit. But over time, as that kid matures and gets stronger and grows in confidence, it's going to come. And it does. And I've seen it, just through being in football my whole life. And it's great. And it's fun when you see that. It might take him his junior year. I have coaches that tell me, man, that kid's soft in 7th, 8th grade. Then he comes up to us and he's a player, as a 10th grader, 11th grader. And it's tremendous. It's awesome. So I encourage you to plan backwards. Take a look at what you're seeing in your game films, special teams wise, and make a drill that simulates that. And do half line if you have to. A 7-on-7 is a great drill, but like I said, those years we had 15 kids, we couldn't do 7-on-7. I mean, it would have looked terrible. So we did half line 7-on-7. We just do this half over here, and depending on your numbers and how many coaches you have, it enables you to really see, hey, now I can watch my outside linebackers. This guy can watch corners. This coach can watch the safeties, or vice versa on offense, to make sure we're doing a great job with that. So do that. Defensively, again, defense is really, and I know I'm getting into a lot of things here, touching on a lot of topics, but defense is really effort, toughness, and knowing what to do. So that's what we encourage with our kids. So defense is an attitude, and knowing where your help is. So I think practicing defense should be fun for man. When we go to defensive practice, our energy level goes up. Like it's an attitude. Like, we're excited, we're getting out there. And so create things to have fun with your kids at practice, to practice defense. Because football, one of the greatest things I love about the game of football is it's not a skill game. It's an effort and attitude game. So you don't have to be playing football for 10 years in order to play as a high school student, in high school. Baseball, if you don't start baseball till you're a 9th grade student in high school, you're going to be in trouble. Basketball, same thing, you're going to be in trouble. But a kid can come out for football in high school and be a tremendous football player if he's willing to give you great effort, great attitude. So defensively, have fun with the kids. Let them play some Air Force football. Those are great. Watch them play tag. Have them take good angles. And that's just a simple drill we even do. It's just a good angle pursuit drill. We have the kid run straight down the line. The other kid has to go tag him. That's something simple that can be a fast drill. That's simple. Kids know what to do. So we try not to mix our drills up and change them every day. We got almost, same drills throughout the whole season. If we're having a problem with, maybe defeating blocks or if we're having a problem with open field tackling, we may try and incorporate a new drill or something different to give our kids some more practice in that. But usually every week, we're just going to keep doing the same drills and keep getting the kids better. And that's why I loved what Coach Glyn said about shortening that tackle circuit. I think he's right on. Get it, make it 2 minutes at a station, get those kids in there, get them a lot of reps, and get them out. And keep it, keep it fresh for them. Keep it fresh at practice. When we're sitting around and that's the other thing with team offense. The kids don't get, when we're sitting around running team offense for 20 minutes, the kids are getting bored. Our team offense, we get 10-minute session. We go to special teams, we come back, and we try and hit another 10-minute session. And in those 10-minute sessions, we're trying to get 20 plays in those 10-minute sessions. So play every 30 seconds is what our goal is for us. And again, I think it goes back to Coach, what Glyn said, did a great job. It's just saying, hey, keep it simple on offense. You don't need every play in the playbook. And I think, I'm not sure who it was, if it was Matt Rule or I don't know who it was, but spoke last year at a clinic, or maybe could have been, Belichick or someone. But, he said the problem today is there are so many good systems out there. It's so hard to find, okay, what are you, that's a great offense. Oh, that's a great offense. That's a great offense. The harder thing to do is to simplify it down and say, hey, this is what I want to run. Because there are so many good systems out there. And you can score points running this one and score points running that one. But the one that's going to be effective is the one that you believe in, the one that your kids can do and do it well, and getting in and out of the huddle, especially at that 3rd and 4th grade level. Those kids, it should be so simple. all those kids should be able to run it. I mean, again, I go back to, again, at 3rd and 4th grade level, if you got the best running back on the field, you're going to win the football game. So it's just balancing that and making it fun. Contact, I touch on that a little bit. The less you do, the more the kids ask for it and want it, right? Don't make it a thing where, oh, we're hitting today. Oh, we're doing this drill again today, and where they're sore all the time and beat up all the time. Make it fun, make it good. Keep practices moving. Just don't go out there and run plays. We try not to do that. The other thing we do is we do some themes of the week and just easy, simple things. So Fresh and Clean Monday, and we came up with some of these because we were having a hard time having clean uniforms. So we said, hey, Fresh and Clean Monday. If you aren't fresh and clean on Monday, we got reminders. And the kids that don't have, clean pants or clean jersey, practice jersey, hey, they're doing a reminder after practice to remember we're fresh and clean. Touchdown Tuesday was just a way to break up the week. So throughout the week, hey, we're going to score a touchdown, then we're going to learn how to celebrate touchdowns. So, and when we're running team offense, kids get to run in the end zone, and we're all going to go celebrate. Hey, touchdown, let's go. Just to bring enthusiasm to the practice. Walk through Wednesdays. And this is stuff I stole from Coach O. So Coach Oscar and I worked together at Michigan State and met with him. A lot of my practice plan stuff I get from him as well too. Took a lot from him. He does a great job. So we do walkthrough on Wednesdays, and then we do perfect Thursdays. So we have a real practice on Thursdays, day before the game. We do our walkthrough on Wednesdays. The other thing we like to do, and I'm not sure if you can do it at the youth level, is, I guess for us, we practice after school, but we do a Monday night practice under the lights, which is a lot of fun. We always enjoy doing that. Pretty cool. So here's our practice plan. So you can kind of see what we're doing. We're trying to keep it short. I mean, it looks like a 2-hour practice, but really if you break it down, we're out there doing specialists. So we got it broken down, and Coach talked about attention to detail and scripting. So we're scripting our specialists in terms of how many punts we're getting, how many quarterback exchanges we're getting, and then we're doing a little bit of walkthrough there as well too. That this was back in September, and we were doing formation recognition for our walkthrough. So that way when we get into practice, once we start practice, our practice is fast and up tempo. Do a quick dynamic warm up. We get into prayer. We always have a focus for the day. I think this week's was probably be a great teammate. And then we do our individual offensive stuff. And then our TMO, again, we went 15 minutes of TMO here, and then a special teams break, and then back to TMO, and then group D, and then individual, and some more group D. But again, just try and keep the kids on the move, keeping them moving, keeping it organized, keeping it fresh for them. So this is an offensive emphasis day. But so really what I was getting to with going through that is our prayer right there at 5:24 is really when our practice really started, the dynamic warm up and stuff. So really we got our practice in about an hour and a half. And that's all, that's about as, sometimes I go over, but I've been getting better over the years as I'm growing and learning and saying, man, we got to get these kids out of here. Because anything over an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes, definitely anything over 2 hours, the kids are lost, right? They're gone. We try and keep it fast. So again, at the lower levels, keep it fast, keep a practice schedule that's on time, that we're getting after it and competing and going from there. So that was a Monday night practice. Had to start a little bit earlier there. I usually start later, but we had Jersey night that night and some other things that we do with our team. This was our Tuesday practice the next day, I think, and this is more of our defense. So we just really flip it. And you can, I guess, going back to this one, we did our defensive circuit here, had our drills in there, and that was 5 minutes. So we had form tackle, we had approach drill, Navy drill, and strip drill. So our stations were probably maybe a minute long, maybe a minute and a half, and then we go right into a goal line where we're going to compete, and then we break off into our individuals there. And again, we're keeping our individuals simple. Defensive line get-offs, linebackers are read steps, DBs staying square and ball drills, and just kind of going from there. And then our defensive
Coach,
emphasis.
that's it. Oh, wait a minute.
Yep.
So it's Coach P. One thing, when you're coaching your guys, they kind of have a good idea on how to tackle, right? Mm-hmm. They got a good idea how to break down. So you can probably get away with, don't forget, when you're teaching these young guys, you're starting from scratch. Mm-hmm. So you go a minute with them, you're not building that muscle memory in a minute. So these tackle circuit drills probably got to go a little long. I mean, to have success, you could, when they get up to the next level and the next level, then you can break down and do the minute deal,
Yep. Right.
I've been doing it a long time at youth. It just doesn't work. I mean,
Sure.
I'm not saying this isn't right, but this
No.
is for high school. You know what I'm saying? For
Oh yeah.
more
No,
advanced guys.
that's a
Young
great point.
guys need
Yep.
repetition.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, I agree. And
Otherwise, they won't be any good by the time they get to you. You want them when they know how to tackle, right?
exactly. No doubt about it. No, that's a good point. You know, and I would just say the big thing is, yeah, start maybe longer at the start, and then you start going whittling that down.
I'm gonna make it shorter for sure, but it would never be a minute at a station.
Yeah. No. You know, these are
happen. I mean,
exactly. Yep. Yeah. By the time you get there, by the time you get organized, yeah, it's pretty tough. And we've been doing this, like you said. I mean, this is our 9th year here at Everest, and our kids know the program, and our freshmen. And I know what you're saying, because even our freshmen coming in, because they're playing high school varsity football, and some of those kids have never even played football before, are coming into our program, so they're just kind of trying to hang on, you know. So we try, and again, and that's why I guess I get back to saying, hey, use the same drills. Don't be changing them up every day or every week, and you know, just keep.
I agree with you, Coach.
We
try to get cute, and then the kids forget what they learned, you know. And if you don't keep repetition with them, you know what I'm saying? It just
exactly. So, and I'm almost done here. I got, you know, this is our other practice plan we got here. And again, you can see just doing like Coach was talking about, you know, you got your group, you got your individual, you got your special teams in there, and trying to fit that all in at the youth level. It's tough. I can't imagine the special teams.
I give you credit. This is awesome. And I know these guys know what you want of them. That's how you can get through this so quick. And it's really efficient. It's an excellent job. You know, I
appreciate
that. I couldn't imagine a youth team doing this, though. That's the thing. But it's still
tough.
Kind of like this, but in a little bit not as organized exactly.
And you know what I would encourage you? You're coaching 7th and 8th grade there, Coach?
I believe I believe I am. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe getting with Coach Ann Arbor Gay Richard there, and just saying, hey, Coach, could we come to camp with you, and taking your 7th and 8th graders and running through it, you know, just so they see
I
it.
agree.
You know,
I agree.
Being around those older kids is great. Mentoring for them and seeing how fast the tempo they run with, and it's kind of cool too, because the 7th and 8th grade, I think, oh wow, I'm practicing with this high school football team. So, so maybe reaching out to Coach on that at Richard and saying, hey, let's, you know, do you mind if I come over to your camp for even a day or 2 days, whatever you can do with them. And you know, even if you get 5 or 10 kids, you know, that's more. Now those kids have seen a practice and they know what it's like. And and I kind of did that when we first started here. You know, I haven't done it the last couple of years just because I guess with COVID and other things, but you know, I would take kids down to Michigan State and watch their practices, and you just see the tempo they have, and the effort and the energy.
Cool to do that.
And you know, and then those kids kind of bring that back to our program and compete that way too. So, so just trying to get kids out there and experience life experiences and doing a great job. And that's what we talked about. We try and do a lot of that with our program, and that's why I encourage you to, you know, any life experiences you can do with these kids, making it great, making football a great experience for them. And that's why the practice plan, and we could get into drills and debate all these things and tackling circuits and I guess really breaking down the tackling into form tackling. And again, that's why I go back to Coach Antonio at Michigan State, is that's what he started with, even kids at Michigan State. You know, those kids come in every practice. You know, the first 2-3 practices of the year, we were doing the form tackling, breaking it down, just fit the form is what he called it. You know, you're just getting into form tackling, you're fitting right there. I mean, those kids do it, or the running backs, and my kids, even my youth kids, get tired of it. You know, we just do that old simple handoff drill where you're working on forming the pocket, and you know, we do that all the way up to the high school level, and just breaking it down, just so simple and basic.
So that brings me to my question. You know, Coach Glyn and Coach Pruchnicki, when it comes to like reduction and tackling, I was amazed as my boys were coming through high school how much tackling was reduced during practice. Mm-hmm. You have not seen that effect Friday nights, or what have you done to compensate? You know, not as much full equipment and tackling going forward. So.
Yeah, that's a great question. It's something that I think you always work on, but I think it's more about taking great angles. And Mike Tressel at Michigan State did a study on that. Actually, he looked at all the big plays that they gave up touchdowns on him, I think about 2 years ago, and it really proved to show that he looked at all those runs, and it came down to really just taking a wrong angle. So it really came down to pursuit angles. So I guess we really emphasize that. as much as we do the tackling. And again, we're getting tackling in short spaces and getting a lot of reps in. So that's, I guess, how we've tried to combat it. And again, just through my experience in high school, we didn't ever hit. So, it's just kind of what I grew up with. So kind of how we did it. But coach probably might have something different for you.
No, it's pretty similar. I think the one thing I'll say that we do is kind of along the lines of the angles is our align and assign. So, I mean, especially in the defensive side, right? Like coach was talking about, you got to know what you're doing, and you got to be able to execute. It's all about energy and effort. And we stress our alignment because if you're out of position, that's going to make that tackling portion even harder.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're able to get to where you need to be quicker and know where you're at and understanding your assignment, I think the less, cutting down on the hitting time, there's so much new equipment nowadays and ways that you can substitute the hitting, whether it's the donuts. And I mean, majority of all of our tackling circuits, we don't go to the ground. There's not a single drill that we go to the ground. The only time we'll ever truly go to the ground, we do a compete period every practice, and on Wednesdays is when we'll have like a 3-minute period of 4 plays of where we're doing like goal line or short yardage, and that's when we might go to the ground, and even then, it's not often.
Okay.
So I think the form stuff and with the hawk tackling and like I said, all this new tackling equipment that they have with the donuts and all that.
Yep.
Makes a huge impact and allowing us to not have to go full contact and go to the ground.
That's good to hear because I know as I saw coaching our staff and as we started to improve ourselves, I just go back to my history and remember one day we just did tackling for like 45 minutes, and I was scratching my head afterwards like, this has got to be changed. We got to do something different here, and we did. And before that, someone almost got hurt. And so that's why we, said we can't never do that again. And I've noticed over the years now, this is like 10 years ago, and over the years that it has, MHSAA and some of you sports have said, you know what, don't tackle or don't have contact, only for a certain amount of hours. So I just wonder, how have you seen that affect, your ability on Friday nights, your guys tackle? Personally, my sons played against your 2 teams, and they were the hardest hitting teams in the Catholic League, in my opinion. So, I mean, I could just tell you the bruises that they had both after each of the games. So I know from this perspective of being reduced, has that affected your teams? I just wanted to make sure that, what I saw on Friday nights, against when my kids played against you guys in high school, that was true, that you have not seen over time that has actually hampered them tackling on Friday nights when you reduced it during practice. So, all right, cool.
Well, yeah, I'll finish here. I just got one more slide, I think. Well, here's our practice script. You can see our offensive practice script here, like Coach talked about. Just want to be, as organized as we can. And I used to write these by hand, but then, I realized, what am I doing? It's a lot easier to read, and for all of our coaches, if I type it out. And so we have these for every practice and every period in terms of our offense. And I think, again, this is a tough one for youth programs. But if you're really emphasizing simple things in your offense and doing a good job of that, it'll be easier. So, and anything you want, if any of these forms, if you want templates of them, willing to share, do whatever. Like I said, I got a lot of this from Coach O or different coaches out there, whoever, and it's been great for me. It's been a bit of help for me. So, and the last thing, Coach, John on here, just really why the Catholic League, and this really comes from Father John Ricardo, and he is just a tremendous man. So, we gotta make sure that what we're doing is why are we here for? Why do we even have it? And that's what his big question is. Why do we have sports a program in the Catholic League? Like, what is the purpose of it? And so why would we be wasting our time or putting this in if it wasn't something more than offering a life-changing encounter with Jesus through athletics? So that's just what I encourage, and I try and do that with our kids here, is balancing that. We can't be all just going into church and praying every day for our practice, but taking that faith out onto the field and living that every day and daily. And the other question he really asks is, how do we measure if we are successful? What does that look like? It's not the trophy cases. It's not going to be that. It's going to be, how many kids are we really bringing to Jesus? How many kids are really, having great experiences and life experiences through these things? So our practice practices have to reflect those things. And our basic human formation is so important. That's why sports is so important, because those virtues we teach in sports of being on time, of being respectful, of hard work are going to help really open up these kids' lives to a Christian formation. And that's why we, as a CYO, as a Catholic League, have to be so strong and doing a great job. So, we know as coaches, the impact we have on these kids' lives is huge, right? We impact more kids in a year than most people do in their whole life. And so it's just a great opportunity for us to evangelize and to really help build the church and really build the kingdom of God. And it's going to reveal our character, our players and ours. So I just encourage you. I think it's incredible that you're coaching. Anyone that's coaching the CYO is, they're great men. And so we got to get out there and make sure that we're proving that and getting it. And I would really encourage you to watch that short video there. Coach Ricardo's talking about a program called Sports Leader, which is a great program. We use some of their concepts here. If you want to look at like Jersey night, and I can talk to anyone and anything, if I can help them incorporate the faith into their programs, would love to do it, because that's really what I'm coaching for, is to coach great men that become great Catholic men. So appreciate that.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well,
Thanks,
are there
Chris.
any questions for Coach Glyn or Coach Pruchnicki? I really appreciate you guys talking about practice plan. I think it's important that we all understand how to create these and create an agenda, so that way we are using our time effectively. I mean, as we all know, back in the day, we used to practice for 2.5 hours, and then over time it got reduced during the season. And so I think this helps, at least myself, understand what to put in there, because I know we created our own, but this is also helping us to create it. And I know Coach O, I didn't know you used Coach O's same philosophy. I thought that was the weirdest thing ever, to do Wednesday walkthrough, until he broke it down to me, and then it made sense to me doing it. And it actually just kind of breaks up the week and energizes the kid when it comes basically by the time Friday night or the weekend comes. So pretty cool.
Yeah, good stuff.
Jerry, I don't know if you got any questions, or Kyle or John.
No, I wanted to say, hey guys, I really learned a lot over. You guys did a great job, man. How old are all you guys? About? I'm curious. I'm 61. I bet you I'm the old man of you guys, right? Huh?
I'm probably the next one. I'm 51. This is Carl.
You're getting up there.
Yep.
But man, you guys got a passion for football to do this thing, just like I do. I'm a junkie, man. I love it. And you guys being on this thing with you, the hour went by fast. You did a great job, man. I really appreciate you doing this and coaching football for kids, because it is, it could be dying out, and we got to keep them going. That's what it's all about.
I appreciate that, Coach. It's equally the same to you guys. It's coaching at that youth level. It's a different monster that takes a real special people. So we appreciate what you guys do more than anything.
All right, Coach.
Yeah, it's awesome. So a great fraternity to be a part of as coaches. And again, anything more we can do within our Catholic League to build that camaraderie between us coaches and having great men on here. I mean, it's awesome that you're donating your own time you don't even have a son playing and you're coaching. So it's awesome to have you on here, coaches, and just to be out there with
I think
young
it
boys.
does. I think it does a lot for me, though. The kids do a lot for me, giving me an opportunity to do this, So I look forward to it every year. I like when it ends, but I look forward to the 3 months or that it is,
Yep. All right. Well, Kyle, if there's no questions, or Gary, or Jerry, I'm sorry, let me know. You can shoot me an email, Kyle. This is Carl Taylor talking, to get the link, just in case I don't have your email address. Other than that, if there's no questions, I'm going to cut the recording off, and I appreciate it. And you guys all have a good night.
Have a nice weekend, guys.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Hope to meet all you guys in person next year, so we can do this in person.
Sure.
So
Absolutely,
thanks,
right?
Thanks a lot, Carl.